What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Casually Fit Podcast. My name is Rob. This is episode 32. Thank you for coming by today. I'm excited. Got some things I want to tell you or show you, right? I want to show you somebody who's been out there losing some weight. I got a nutrition tip for you, fitness tip, and I'm also going to show you somebody who's out there pushing their bodies, getting as strong as they can, and videotaping pretty much all of it. And so we're going to get into that today. Before I get into that, I do want to talk about, because I am recording this, or you will see this more than likely April 21st, the day after, the holiday, or, the lazy person's holiday. I want to smoke until I lay on the couch all day holiday. It was 420, and I thought that it would be, if I was to ever bring this up, I think bringing it up around the vicinity of this day would probably be the best time to do it. So all I wanted to just say is that, first of all, for most people, especially me growing up, it was like, people who smoked and worked out, that wasn't really a thing. And it was just like, when I was growing up in my group of friends, it was like the people who were working out were not really smoking, like, at all. And then the people who were smoking weren't working out. And, that's obviously a wide generalization, but that seemed to be the vibe from a lot of people on either side. So it's always kind of been this divided kind of thing. And, but I got to say that is completely, these worlds need to join up, especially if you're just talking about, it's not psychoactive or anything, but CBD, being open to using CBD is huge for people if you're trying to release some pain, release some tension, release some anxiety. You can take it before or after your workout, because just think, if you're able to relax your body a little bit more before you go work out, everything's just going to feel just a little bit better. I've always found that if I kind of loosen up my body with CBD before I go and work out, and it kicks in while I'm working out, I feel like, all the little pains that I have or might have that day don't really show up. So I've always found that I'm able to push a little bit harder. So I just want to say that, because there's people out there who are completely against it and just completely push it away, and, it's do whatever you want to do. But I would just say that I think it'd be best for people if you do open yourself up to something on such a low level as CBD. It's just a byproduct of the plant, and there's no psychoactive elements to it at all. So I would say that, hey, if you're going to ever try it the day after the holiday, right? I'm sure there's a bunch of sales going on. And if you want to get really dicey with it, you could also use the psychoactive part and CBD part. If you do like a 4-to-1, 2-to-1, or 1-to-1 vape pen that has, the 3 parts or 4 parts CBD and 1 part THC, that's also a great experience as well. And I would just suggest, if you're, build yourself up, don't go out there or don't sit in the parking lot and hotbox your car by yourself, especially if you've never smoked or anything like that. I wouldn't suggest that to be the best thing to do. And if you tend to venture off and really kind of just lose where you're at, maybe it's not the best thing for you to do. But if you're able to focus your energy, which one thing that does help is if you take some caffeine before you go work out, and then maybe you take a little CBD, maybe a little THC, I've found that mix, that little tiny mix of all of that, just a little caffeine, a little CBD, a little THC. I used to work out, without any of that, and it's kind of hard to get going. It's kind of hard to stay going as well. You can get into the groove of things, but if you're getting older and you start having some issues with your back and your your elbows hurt and you're creaking all over the place, and you're looking for just to get kind of not really get rid of completely, but to just kind of dissipate all those feelings. You can kind of just put in that little cocktail and you can have yourself a great workout. I found that, as far as performance and focus, the common misconception would be, and this is for some people, but the common misconception is that if you do any of that, it'll just completely leave you in disarray and you'll just like stop working out and lay on the ground and just want some snacks. I found for myself, again, it's the exact opposite of that. I get way more focus. I have way more energy. I still do. I mean, I run miles every single day after I lift some weights. I mean, my cardio doesn't, I feel like my cardio gets, I don't know if I'd say better, but I definitely don't feel any hindrance in it. And as far as like not having to deal with a bunch of achy pain while I'm trying to work out, I mean, it helps in a huge way with that. So I would just say, since we're around the vicinity of this day, if I could give you some somewhat, maybe not the best advice, but I think it's good advice. Some people maybe think it's irresponsible. I don't know. I mean, I just think that every time I've done it, I've had a great workout and I've never had any negative effects from it whatsoever. And I would say that I've gotten better, I've gotten better results from it. I would go as far to say that. So if that happened for me, I think that it can happen for a bunch of people. And of course, you can go off the rails with it. But like I said, if you just do a little bit of each before you go work out, try it out, see what happens. And again, my workout is typically, the name of the channel is what I do. I lift weights, spend like 30 to 45 minutes lifting weights. And then I go for a run for, however, either I go for miles or I go by minutes. So I do, about three or more miles, nothing crazy, or I do it timed. I'll stay on it for 30 minutes or I'll do that and then jump on an assault bike or just I do a bunch of different cardio things. So I'm not like lazy in the gym, just trying to let you know that. And then I stretch afterwards. And I found that whole entire mix really has helped me, get stronger, stay in shape, and then feel just on another level of healthy and kind of fit. And so yeah. So I just wanted to, just so you're not like listening to me and thinking like, well, this guy doesn't even work out. So just let you know I do, 6-7 days a week. So, yeah, that's just my little quick tip, I guess. I thought that, hey, might as well throw it out there. It's, the day after. Yeah, so clearly I'm not saying 100% for sure do it, but if it's something that spikes your curiosity, I mean, what's holding you back, right? So moving on to the Fit Fighter of the Week. Okay, so again, this is somebody who has been losing weight. This is somebody who's been pushing themselves. They might be similar to you, right? A lot of people listening to this, for most of you, whether you're just starting right now or you have been in the gym for a long time, we've all started from a beginning place. And this person was at the beginning at one point and said, hey, I got to change some things around. I got to, change the trajectory of my course that I'm on. And this lady is Jessie. If you go to @GainingJessieWW, hopefully the screen recorder is working and you can see it right here. But yes, this woman has lost 78 pounds, right? That is a lot of weight. I think I'm not seeing the, so she started Weight Watchers in February of last year. So she's down 80 pounds. I don't know. It says that she lost 80 pounds with just WW, which is Weight Watchers, and walking her dog. Now, okay, so you know, if you listen to the podcast, you know I would say, hey, gotta get in the gym too. But hey, we're trying to bring her up, and but she started last year, so that's not that much time. I mean, that's a year and 2 months from today, and she lost 80 pounds. That's a huge accomplishment, and yeah, and she has another goal. I'm trying to read her thing, but if you look on here, as you can see, she has her whole page basically dedicated to these before and after pictures. She shows you food she eats and all that. And if you're watching the podcast, which if you're just listening, you can go to YouTube and watch if you want. But she has her transformation. Again, she just looks much different. Again, 80 pounds. Okay, so maybe here's a picture on 2016. Maybe it's, longer than a year. But still, again, I mean, this is what you would call a success story if you're like, oh, I'm trying to lose some weight. Losing 80 pounds is a success. So go check out Gaining Jessie WW. Yeah, so at Gaining Jessie WW. So she's real into the Weight Watchers, right? And that's good. All right. Again, I'm a fan of Weight Watchers just because, if you're not ever paying attention to what you eat and you're not really sure of the calories and the sugar and all the carbs that are in the food that you're eating, hey, maybe it's a good thing to start looking at that. And Weight Watchers forces you to do that by assigning a point to everything and, having a full layout of everything that you can eat. You can go on their website and they just have nutritional facts for literally everything. So that can get you, just aware of what's going on. And I think the more you're aware of how unhealthy certain food is, I mean, that can only help you. And for a lot of people who aren't, as you'd say, in the best of shape or really paying attention to it, they're just not paying attention to it. And it can really be very easy to discount it, because there's food all over the place, right? You don't really understand that. I think there's a study that was done where it's like 70 or 80% of the food in a grocery store has added sugar to it, something like that. So you're not really thinking about that. We're not really expecting our food to be food and then have, added sugar on top of whatever's inside of it. So yeah, if you join the WW, I have no affiliation with them. I just like their model. Then, you're paying attention to that stuff. And that brings me to, so go follow her if you want to. Again, she has snack lists, tips and tricks for you. And you can just see her journey as she keeps on losing weight, because it seems like that's what she wants to do. But congratulations to her. She's killing it. And again, take some inspiration from her. Just see that it is possible. Okay, Gaining Jessie WW. I'm not saying anything, but she has like 2,500 followers. In today's world, you see these high profile people losing weight. Like the most recent one was Action Bronson, Rebel Wilson, and some other ones, I don't know. But you hear of those, obviously, because they're celebrities, and they have millions of followers and all this, and you hear of it, and you're just like, well, this person's just very rich. They're just millionaires. So, they have a team of people helping them lose weight. And and all that's probably true, right? They probably have a nutrition coach, a weightlifting coach. They have money to take testosterone, which I think Action Bronson was saying that he did. So they have all those great factors. They have all those tools at their ready and at their command. So when you see these high profile people losing weight and you see this transformation, it's very easy to discount it a little bit and be like, well, they have a whole team and this, and they got all this money and they don't do anything all day anyways. They just sit inside their mansions and just think of things to be either mad at and tweet about, or they say, hey, I'm going to lose some weight. So, it's very easy to discount it. And almost all of those assumptions are accurate, right? And that's the problem. And which is why I'm bringing you Gaining Jessie WW. Because I'm not saying anything about her. I'm just saying, comparing 2,300 followers to, 2.3 million or something like that. It's a huge difference. And so, Jessie is, somebody that's not this high profile. I don't know if she has a team or anything like that. I'm just going to assume that she doesn't have a huge staff supporting her and all the time in her day to just focus on losing weight. I'm going to assume that that's not the case. So that's why I want to show you Jessie, because again, it looks like, she just says that she lost 80 pounds from doing the WW program and walking her dog. And I'm not saying that's impossible, right? It's definitely possible. I would just say that exercising, putting some more strain on your muscles by lifting some weights and maybe having a little bit higher caliber of cardio, I think that would just benefit everybody's body just a little bit more. It'll benefit your health a little bit more. So that's all I would add to that. But also, losing weight is calories in versus calories out. Are you in a caloric deficit? And WW is going to get you in a caloric deficit. So, and if you're walking your dog, you're walking your dog. It's a great starting point to begin from, is by doing that. And yeah, so she did it, lost 80 pounds with the WW and walking her dog, and all power to her. Let's move on to the next segment, the new chill. Let's move on to, I got to get a drink. Am I going too fast? I feel like I just started talking and then all of a sudden talking about the nutritional tip. Now, the tip this week is just going to be, it's just a quick one. It's just an easy one. And that's a bad word. I'm trying to get away from, so many people talk about losing weight and all these things, and you always hear easy. Everything's so easy. And, when you're trying to lose weight, it's anything but easy. Simple step, that's more accurate of, a simple tip is more accurate to what I'm talking about. And that tip is to pick something. Okay, pick something and cut it out. Whether that's the soda you drink in the day, whether that's you're going to switch your coffee from, you go to Starbucks, go and look into your Starbucks drink. That is another tip. Go on their website, look at the sugar, look at all that stuff. And it's huge. Basically, if you're not just getting regular coffee, and even if you are getting regular coffee, they're just pumping syrup in there. And so it's a huge issue, right? So if you notice, like, oh my God, I'm starting my day with a venti large cup of caffeine and also 100 grams of sugar. That's probably not the best thing to do, right after I had breakfast, which was like, 800 calories or however many calories that was, and however much sugar was already in that as well. So my tip for you is to not look at dieting. You can look at dieting in a few different ways. One of the ways you can look at it is what I'm suggesting right now, which is just to start picking off little things, whether, again, that's your coffee, whether that's a snack you go to, whether that's your daily, Chick-fil-A spicy chicken sandwich day that you got to pick off, you got to get rid of that, or whatever it is. You have an obvious low-hanging fruit of something that is probably not the healthiest thing that you could be doing, but you still do it. So try to pick that off and then build up from there. So that's one way of looking at it. I'm going to get into that more here in a second. But another way of doing it is what most people try to do, and um, and a lot of people fail at doing it. I'm not saying it's a both ways will work. You know what I'm talking about before, and this other way, which is just completely taking every single thing that you eat right now, everything you drink, everything you eat, and completely throwing that away, disregarding it, forgetting about it, and completely replacing it with the healthy food and all the stuff. Everything you drink, every restaurant you go to, every food you eat, all of that changes in the matter of from one day to the next, right? That's the other way to do it. And that way it works, okay? It works for some people and it works for certain people. Or, you know, you can go the other way and you can just start picking things off because, you know, the thing is that most people, is a horrible statistic, but most people, like 80, 90+% of people who try to lose weight, they don't succeed after 5 years. To me, that's a huge problem, okay? And what people have been told for a long time is, you know, is that completely switch over. Switch your diet completely over from one day to the next. Today, you're eating unhealthy. Tomorrow, you're eating healthy. And then stick with that and grind it out and push through all those, you know, 5 different, because, you know, switching out your entire meal plan that you typically eat throughout a day and drink throughout a day, you know, that's really like throwing away like 5 or 6 or more deep habits at the same time. That's like quitting smoking and quitting freaking, this is going to get the video flagged, but that's like quitting smoking. That's like quitting alcohol, heroin, meth, and quitting, you know, speeding or something. I don't know. Some habits that are completely, I mean, just one of those habits to get rid of is extremely difficult, and most people fail. And when you completely throw out your prior meal with something new, you now have to stop all those habits at the same exact time and then white knuckle it for, you know, 30 to 60 days, because that's typically like when your bad habits or when your habits when your new habits overtake the bad habits or the old habits that you're doing. The new habit that you've been trying to do, usually after 30 to 60 days, that's going to be where it's going to be easier and more automatic for you to keep on going with the new habit versus the old habit. So with this statistic of 90% of people failing, and the fact that most people tell ones who want to lose weight, hey, let's switch this out from today to tomorrow, since that's been the advice, and it's not, I mean, it just doesn't seem like it's working. Again, it works for some people, right? You can do that, but it's understandably very difficult. And so that's why I'm suggesting for the tip for today, which me talking about, I think I'll make a more detailed, more concise video about this probably in the next couple weeks. But the tip is to just start picking it off, right? Because if you just get rid of the coffee in the morning, you know, or you just switch out the coffee from whatever you're drinking to just a regular coffee with no syrup, if you're able to do that, then that's one thing, right? That's one of your habits that you got rid of. And now instead of 5 habits, you have 4 habits, right? And then you can start focusing on the other one and whatever's next, right? If it's you for lunch, you always go to the same place, you get the same chicken tenders and fries and the drink. That's the next thing, right? That's the next thing you got to hit up. Or if we're sticking to bebidas, drinks, if we're sticking to that, a lot of people drink soda. So that would be the next thing. Soda has a lot of sugar in it, and that should definitely be on your radar. And so, you know, cutting out drinking that. Because, again, when you cut out drinking Coke, you're also cutting out all the times that you usually drink Coke. I used to smoke cigarettes all the time, all right? And for me, I would smoke cigarettes you know, almost in like habits, right? Or, well, it was a habit, right? but habitually throughout the day through certain things. If I got in my car, guess what? I'm lighting up a smoke. If I'm heading into somewhere, right? If I'm just about to enter something, anything, I'm lighting up, right? And as soon as I felt any sense of boredom, guess what? I'm going outside, I'm lighting up. So when I decided to quit, all of a sudden I'm trying to stop the smoking thing, but then I'm also having all these daily reminders or really hourly reminders of like, hey, well, yesterday you would have smoked right here, but today you're not, And so it makes it very difficult. But I believe that if you don't want to take on the full front of switching out your diet from one day to the next, I believe that the next best thing that you can do is start picking things off and have some sort of a plan. Try to pick out, a few areas that you really need to change and put together some sort of like calendar. Be like, okay, so if it takes 30 to 60 days for me to switch an old habit, get rid of an old habit and start a new one to fully have it to where it's not excruciatingly painful, right? Sometimes this can happen right away, but typically 30, 60, 90 days to where the old habit isn't pulling you towards it as much. Then have on your calendar, okay, I'm going to switch out my Starbucks drink and I'm going to try to do that every single day for the next 45 days. And as soon as you actually get 45 days straight, 45 clean days, then you start picking off, okay, what's the next thing, right? But you have to do, I would suggest doing 45 days straight, completely, not having it whatsoever. You have to show yourself that you don't need it. That's the whole thing. So however long that takes. But yes, I think if you do that, that's going to help you out, because then all of a sudden you're going to be at, you're going to have like 3 things that you have already changed. And now you have an overbearing weight of these healthy eating habits. And then you have like, if it's out of 5 bad habits, then you have these 2 other things that are kind of in the way. Well, when you're leading most of your life in a very healthy way, those unhealthy habits, those unhealthy things that you turn towards are going to become much more blaring and much more on your radar. Just because, one, you might desire them more as well, because that's a little bit of your escape. But also because you're just going to have such a huge contrast. If your usual, dessert or go-to thing that's unhealthy is maybe, over here we have In-N-Out, everybody's heard of it, but you have animal style fries. I'm sure everybody's heard of this too, but it's just French fries with a bunch of cheese and like bacon and some other stuff I think's on it. I'm not sure, it's okay. It's not the best. It's pretty good. But there's definitely no nutritional value in that whatsoever. It's just, it's like hot garbage. I don't know what to say, but it's not good for you. If you eat it, whatever, I'll eat it sometimes. But that's going to be a huge difference from the steak and vegetables you had earlier, right? Or the quinoa and red beets you had earlier. And when you have these habits that are, when you're eating healthy, you're also becoming more aware of how healthy that food is. So you're aware that it is healthy, and you're also aware of why it's actually healthy and why the other stuff is not healthy for you. And so that becomes a huge contrasting factor to really, which just helps you complete everything. If you do this gradual buildup and you gradually take away these bad things and switch over your diet plan, then you're going to see the whole process moving forward to where you're very against it. You're against the diet completely. And you're like, all right, I'll try to get rid of one of these habits. And then all of a sudden you got the habit done. And you're like, oh, things are a little bit different. It's not the best, but I didn't think I could live without, drinking that vanilla ice latte in the morning. But here I am drinking a, regular iced coffee with no syrup. And, and then you're like, what about this soda that I keep on drinking? Because I keep on hearing Rob talk about how bad it is for me, and I guess I should go for that next. And then you do that, and then you're like, oh, I actually feel better now because I'm not chalked up full of sugar and having crashes, energy crashes. And then you're like, wow, what if I do a couple more things? And then boom, you built up a foundation, right? You built up something you built up something that, just a learning process, right? Instead of trying to completely switch everything over and just white knuckling it, and it's not chill for sure. It's not a chill experience. Even gradually doing it is not really a chill experience. But when you compare the two, the gradually doing it is much more chill than trying to switch everything over at the same time. So maybe that made sense. Hopefully that made sense. I think that's something that people can get hung up on, because a lot of people say, hey, I'm going to lose weight, but I got to do this, this, and that before I start to lose weight. Because they think in their mind that everything needs to start at the same time. It all needs to be perfect. And we have a tendency to do this. I have a tendency to do it. It's like a natural thing. But that can lead you to being like, yeah, I'm going to lose weight. You could be saying that for months. You could be saying it for years. And that's months and years wasted. When my thing is that if you have the idea, hey, I want to lose weight, start looking at, okay, what can I do right now? What can I do tomorrow to start losing weight? Okay, let me take off this coffee. I don't need to go to the gym yet. I don't need to do any of that yet. Let me try to get rid of this coffee out of my diet. And then you just move on from there. And have, don't space this thing out. Don't, use Gaining Jessie WW as an example. She lost that 80 pounds in about a year, okay? So that's a lot of weight to lose in a year, especially without exercising. If you're looking for long-term, I wouldn't get caught up in like how much weight you want to be losing in a year or doing any of that, or, because that can make you make mistakes. That can make you speed up something that shouldn't be sped up. And that's what causes many people to bounce back. That's the biggest thing, is like people lose the weight and then they bounce back. That's a huge thing. Like the statistic of people failing after or the 90% of people who fail, and I think that, yeah, but let's say 90, that's after 5 years. I think after 2 years, there's still like 60 or 70%. I can't remember the exact number. There's still like 60 to 70% of people who well, here's I'm sorry. Yeah, 60 to 70. The number goes from 60 to 70% to 90%. Sorry, my brain just turned off for a second. And then so there's that gap, right? Because it shows after 2 years, hey, what about this extra 20%? How to go from 70 to 90? That 20% of people were actually successful after a couple years, but then they bounce back. And then when you check in 5 years later, you're like, oh, well, this isn't looking good. And so that's what I'm just trying to do here, right? I'm trying to look at what people have been told, what people are doing, and just trying to find different ways to do it, because it does not seem to be working whatsoever. So I think this is going to be a great way. Just start picking some things off. Again, don't get caught up in how much weight you're losing per month, per day, per hour. If you want to do it, okay, can't stop you from doing it. And for certain people, that's going to be the way that they're going to do it. But if that's not you, don't be super self-conscious about that decision. If that's not you, build yourself up, grab the lowest hanging fruit and work on that, and then go from there. Okay. And then, and I think that's going to be the best way forward for you. So that's the nutritional tip for you this week. And let me check something real quick, how long we've been going. All right. Next thing is I want to give you a fitness tip, quick fitness tip, just something that you can take with you for when you're in the gym. And this is another thing that kind of not really goes against, well, it's a couple tips in one. One of the things that I would say is for most people when they're like, I got to go into the gym and I got to work out. For a lot of people who are inexperienced, it's like this. They got to build themselves up to go to the gym. Like they got to get psyched up to go to the gym, and they got to get in there and make it happen and, start pushing around weight, and they get really into it. And again, if that's you, keep doing it, right? That's fine. But if that's not you, I would suggest looking at your effort on a percentage level. Going into the gym at 100% every single day, it's just not going to work out too well for most people. Your body will just break down, especially if you're new. Your body's going to break down, and you can possibly injure yourself, right? You can possibly injure yourself pretty bad. And how does that help you lose weight or get fit or anything like that? So going at 100% should be very seldom. I don't think it should be happening very often whatsoever. So my tip is to change your mind on the effort that you're about to put in the gym, right? And what I mean by that is, like, if you're lifting up dumbbells and you think in your mind, maybe you're right, that you can chest press, 65, 70 pounds. Maybe you can do that 6 times or something like that. And that would be your 100%. You doing 70 pounds 6 times, that's 100% for you. Well, I would say that maybe go at it, maybe 75% of that. Maybe lift up 50 pounds and do 8 to 10 reps, something like that. That's the effort. I don't mean go in there, be lazy, but just don't max yourself out on how many reps and sets and weight you can do, or how fast and far you can run or walk or whatever every single day. If that's not you, again, some people are just going to gravitate towards pushing 100% all the time. And for certain body types, that does work. Again, you still have to rest and all that, but that is another way of doing it. I'm a fan of that way. But there are some times where you have to take a step back. And if you're just starting and you're building up into your mind right now, I got to start the gym. And when I go in the gym, I got to be intense about it. And that can cause you to have anxiety right now because you're like, I don't want to do that. It's not exciting. I would look at going to the gym and be like, hey, it's all about just beginning. So even if you just go to the gym and you're like, if you're looking at, from more, I should probably use lower weight, if you're supposed to do, like, if you're looking at a workout program and the workout program has you do, 5 sets of 20 squats and maybe some shoulder presses or something like that. If you're looking at your workout program that you got and it says to do this, that would be well along the lines of your 100%. If you haven't been working out and you got to do 5 sets, 20 squats each set, that's going to be about your 100%, right? So I would say to instead take that workout program and cut it in half or cut it in a quarter and just do a quarter of it. You don't have to go in. Your first day at the gym doesn't have to be a day of just completely destroying yourself and losing your mind, right? Again, if that's you, do it. But if that's not you, you don't have to do it. go in there and take a little bite off of it, right? Take that quarter, right? Just go in there, do some squats, do some shoulder presses a little bit, do a little walking, whatever you want. Just do a little bit of whatever the program says. Or if you don't have a program, just do whatever you feel like doing, but just get in there and just try to do some stuff. And there's no problem with that. Like there's absolutely no problem with that. For me, I like to do one thing that I started a while ago is an assault bike. I started doing the assault bike a lot. And, I was switching over from running, ran into some back issues, and I was like, I got to do some different cardio. And I looked at the assault bike. I'm like, that looks intense, right? You're moving your arms, you're moving your legs, you're like sitting up, and you got the fan. And I'm just like, this looks intense. Every time I ever see somebody online, sometimes in the gym, these people are pouring sweat. They're dying out there doing the assault bike. I'm like, that looks intense. And I could have just like stayed away from the assault bike, but I was like, let me just jump on it and see what it's all about. And then I started feeling it. I was like, oh, this is a lot harder than I thought it was. And what I did from there was not okay. Well, one, I didn't jump off the assault bike and go do something else. What I did from there is I just went at it from a reasonable pace and a reasonable kind of state where I'm like, okay, let me just do this a little bit, not completely wear myself out, and let me build myself up on this machine. I didn't need to show myself or go all out on or assault the bike, as they say. I didn't need to go 100% and do that. And me today on the assault bike, my cardio is just much better on it, and I love the assault bike right now. But I'm just saying this gradual buildup really does help. It really is a great way to just start doing something, especially, again, if you're just starting off in the gym. Just take a little bite out of these things. Go in there and say, and this, again, to some people, they think you should go. The problem I have with going at 100 or even 90% every single day you work out, for some people, again, not everybody, but for some people, the problem with doing that is that you're compounding some things. You can possibly cause an injury doing that. You can also be making the soreness level insane, and you can be completely depleted with energy every single day, especially if your nutrition's not good or if your body's still trying to get used to nutritious food and it's going through this change of getting different food and doing these different workouts and straining itself more. It could really throw people in complete disarray, and that disarray can push people away from continuing on with going to the gym. And to me, that's clearly an issue, right? Some people, the more pain, pressure, and misery that they can be in, the better for them. If that's you, again, go and do that. But for other people, they don't want to live miserable lives. Understandably, they don't want to do these miserable things. So if you go into the gym every day and it's just complete misery for 30 to 90 minutes when you're at 90% to 100% of your effort level, then I believe that's a way that many people fall off. So to try to prevent that, to give you a different option, I would say just build up. Just go, and again, if you have this workout program and it's maybe geared towards helping you lose weight, so it has lower exercises, lower weights, lower sets, all of that. And if you find that maybe that's still too much, don't be like, well, I can't do that. Just cut that down more, or do the entire workout program. And if it calls for 10-pound dumbbells, use 2.5-pound dumbbells, or don't use any dumbbells whatsoever. Just do the movements. And, you really got to shed away your ego, and you got to make sure you're not concerned that other people are looking at you, because that's another issue there. But I think that's going to be the best way moving forward. That's my fitness tip for this week. Moving on to the final part. Let's let me show you somebody who is the fit freak of the week. Somebody who, again, is just into fitness on another level, right? Just they've been possibly into fitness since they were a kid. They're just running, lifting weights, just little powerhouses, just going crazy. Or maybe it's something that they picked up later on in life. But we have Ida Berg Foth. Completely ruined that name, I'm sure. But so if you go to Ida Berg Foth on Instagram, go ahead. I have a messed up last name too, so I feel you. But go to Instagram and look at her profile because she is a fit freak. And one thing that I like is that she does a bunch of different workouts. Like this would be, if you're watching the YouTube, this is more like the bodybuilding type of stuff. It's very slow motions, very controlled, all of that, which is all great. And, you definitely get results from that, which is another reason why she's a fit freak of the week is because she has strength, she has form, she knows what she's doing, but she's also, here's her leg pressing. I mean, she's got, well, the video, I don't know where that video went. Yeah, so she has workouts on here. But yeah, she's leg pressing it looks like 8 different plates. But what I was saying, another reason that makes her a fit freak of the week, which I'm just not seeing it right now, is, all right, maybe not. Here's one. Here's going to be the closest thing, is that she has some calisthenics as well. Right here, she's doing some push-ups. Okay, I don't know where the video went, but I thought I saw her jumping around and doing some crazy things with her body. But either way, she's killing it. I mean, I'm pretty sure, she's got bigger arms than me. I'm pretty sure she's killing. I'd go check her out if you want to get some. Looks like she has a bunch of workout tips. Shows you all different types of workouts that she does. She gives you a complete breakdown of her sets, how many reps she does. If you're watching the video, this one's the thing about working out sometimes is that, you don't always look the best when you're doing it. Some workouts are, it's very interesting when you see people do workouts. Like you just look goofy for a lot of times. And yeah, this is her. I think it looks like she's somewhat of a bodybuilder. And yeah, so if you're excited about that, again, I thought I saw her doing more. I'm all for people doing the bodybuilding stuff and just going in there, doing these weights and stuff. Okay. All right. Yeah. I like it when people have that, but are also very limber, very explosive is the word I'm looking for. And being able to connect the strength that they gain from the gym with the outside world somewhere. For me, typically that I like the best is surfers. Surfers, recent ones have been able to transfer the strength and the limberness that they can get from going to the gym into the surfing world to be able to do these crazy things, to be able to, take 60-foot waves to the head and be thrown underneath the water and be thrashed around for several seconds, and then have that happen multiple times, in just a few minutes, and then being able to paddle around, so being able to link it all up is something that I like, and that's who I like to highlight for the Fit Freak of the Week. Again, if you want to go find Ida Bergfoth, go ahead, head to Instagram. But that's this week's episode, right? I'm sorry about last week. I didn't do an episode. Everything kind of just got caught up in some stuff and didn't have the time. And honestly, sometimes that's going to happen, all right? Sometimes, when I go to a buffet, I go there and I'm like, oh, they got steak, they got some vegetables, they got dessert, they got ice cream, I get the sprinkles, I just started grabbing things and stacking my plate, right? And then I go and sit down. Then I worry about eating. And sometimes I'm not able to eat the whole plate, right? So I'm sorry, that's going to happen. Sometimes I stack my plate too full and I'm not able to finish it off, which is what happened last week. And it's not going to happen for a while. But sometimes, hey, your boy's got to take a break, right? But yeah, other than that, go to the website if you want to support the podcast, support what I'm doing, or if you also want to get workout programs, go to the website, $10 a month. You get a membership pass. I'm going to add in new workout programs, hopefully by the end of this week as well. So hopefully there'll be a total of 5 on there. And again, the membership is just me. I'm just going to be continuously adding more things in there, and hopefully get a little bit of a community built in there. And I'm going to have a specific podcast just for that within that membership program. So yeah, if you want to do that, go check it out. Okay. Other than that, share this around if you want. If you like this podcast, let some people know. Okay, let some people know what's up about the Casually Fit podcast. And other than that, I appreciate you stopping by today. Thanks, and have a good one.